Hey friends, Fox here, and I am coming to you from a nondescript parking lot, but I am actually coming to you with a very heartfelt matter. Today marks the end of an era for me, and it's actually a little bit emotional, but today I'm saying goodbye to an old friend. My car of 11 years, we, about a week and, I guess about 2.5 weeks ago at this point, ended up getting into a hydroplaning accident, and it was very scary, and it was on the highway, and it ended up being to where there was some standing water. And I was going about 60. I was about to exit the highway, and we just took off. We took off spinning, and some say that we are still spinning to this very day. But ended up spinning my back passenger bumper into another car and continued spinning across the highway, and ended up on the left lane facing oncoming traffic, which was very scary. The first time I've ever hydroplaned ever. And I made a very important realization that day, which was that I'm too old for that kind of excitement. And that is not an experience I need to have again. So that happened. And we'll take a look at this. So what ended up happening was, at that point, I'm sitting there and I'm watching traffic coming at my face. And luckily, I did, in the process of spinning, I think I mentioned my rear passenger bumper hit another car, and I kept spinning till I was in the left, and then I'm watching traffic coming, and then there was a pause in the traffic, and the car was still running fine, and so I ended up being able to pull a U during the traffic pause and go into the shoulder. And then I followed the other car that was involved into, we got right off the exit ramp and pulled into the nearest parking lot, which was a cemetery. And at that point, I'm on the phone with the police. I'm shaking and everything. But yeah, it was very scary. And luckily no one was hurt. The only damage that I saw that was to his car was the passenger side door and rear door. I was not injured. He was not injured, thankfully. And no other cars were involved. But there was apparently one fatality. And so this was the damage to my beautiful Blue Fit, as you see here. And and all things considered, I ended up getting some bungees and bungeeing it up, and it still drove fine, which in part is what makes this so heartbreaking and frustrating, is that the insurance eventually came back and totaled it out, just because it is 11 years old. It's over 100,000 miles. Under 120, which is still not, not at death's doorstep yet, and still drives fine, but totaled out, and for the damage done. And then, there's some other damage, from, low bumper, years of high driveways and things like that need fixing. So at this point, we are parting ways. But it feels very heartbreaking. We've been through a lot together. My parents purchased this car for me new. It was a graduation, more of a going back to college gift. And perhaps as much, if not a little bit more, please stop using a motorcycle as your main means of transportation, and instead use this much safer enclosed vehicle. So that's kind of what that was, but the Fit has been an incredible car for me. It has carried me for many, many, many miles, many adventures, and throughout all of that time, I have only had to do regular maintenance. I've replaced spark plugs, I've replaced the battery maybe 3 times, but really that's it in that amount of time. The car has never let me down, you know, and like, this is not my first vehicle. I've had several vehicles before this, and they, you know, I've parted ways with all of them, and there's definitely vehicles that you part ways with that are kind of clunky, you know, and these other cars I've had definitely were vehicles that were kind of a pain in the butt, and whenever it was time to part ways, you know, got rid of them, and I was like, goodbye, I miss you not. But it's different when you have a car that you've been with for so long that has been really faithful, that has treated you well. You know, it's like getting out of an 11-year relationship with someone who has been really stable and really there for you, you know, because they lost a leg, but not that they couldn't stop running, and because insurance said that they would not pay for a replacement leg. I'm looking at you. No, and you know what, and the insurance is doing a great job, and I understand where they're coming from. You know, I'm not bemoaning my insurance. They're treating me well. But it's just it's very frustrating, and I am incredibly attached to this vehicle. You know, and there is an element of intense personal guilt that I'm feeling. I was talking to Clayton, and I had told him, I was like, Clayton, and you know, tears are coming down. I'm like, Clayton, I feel so guilty for like leaving this car, for parting ways with this car, you know. And he says to me, he's like, it's okay to feel sad about that, but also just remember, it's not a sentient being. Which I try to take to heart, but you know, there's a part of me, I guess, that I don't know if I'm totally convinced of that. I feel like, you know, I tend to imbue things I care about with just like pieces of myself and characteristics and stuff, and I think a lot of people do that to an extent. But again, it's like, I feel like, you know, I'm letting you down somehow. So yeah, I feel bad about that, and then a lot of that's my own stuff to work through. But this car has been an amazing, amazing vehicle. I cannot say enough good things about this Fit. It has been my partner in adventuring, my wheels on the ground, my literal vehicle to and fro. We have gone to New Orleans numerous times. We have gone on many trips. We've gone to Orlando. We have driven so many miles. We've carried couches, so many boxes of things, gone through moves. There's a truck coming, so I guess I'll cut this off here before it gets too close and gets too loud. But anyway, I just wanted to share this and give a little homage to my beautiful and wonderful Fit. So thanks so much for joining me, and goodbye, Fit. I'm gonna miss you. You were an amazing vehicle.